All right, guys. Well, welcome to tonight. Thanks for being here again. We're going to go through a workshop on time management. By no means is this an exhaustive list of all time management. Okay, I'm just going to give you my top 3 strategies in time management. And you'll find that if you can apply 1, 2, or all 3 of these strategies, you should find yourself with a bit more time on your hands. Okay, to start doing some of the things that you ultimately really would like to be doing. Our lives always seem to get busier, but we don't always seem to be more productive because of it. One of the key things that I want to bring to your attention is that there's a difference between what is important and what is urgent. And I learned this myself watching a Christian show, The Hour of Power. And there was a singer on there, I forget his name at the moment, but he brought home this concept of urgent versus important. And too often we give our mind to what is urgent rather than what is important. And one of those examples is, our families. Our families are really important, but often we give away to more urgent things that are on our mind. And we become distracted with what's really key to making our lives hopefully more successful, more happy, and more fruitful. And so what I want to go through tonight is some key strategies that will open your diary with time to give more time to the things that are important, or things that are going to give you a chance to start doing the things you love doing, and who knows, maybe make a living out of that rather than the stressful things that you're doing at the moment. Cool. Someone here tonight is going to win a little prize again. Okay. And it's actually going to be a prize to go towards next month's workshop. Okay. And so we're going to go and have a look what's going on with that. Cool. So, time. Well, we all have the same amount of time allocated. We all get the exact same time. We have something like 1,440 minutes a day, but not everyone utilizes it the same. One of the key things when you start looking at time is to start chunking it down, okay? And when we think about time, we've got 60 minutes per hour or 6 blocks of 10 minutes, okay? We've got 24 hours per day. We've got 168 hours a week, 365 days a year, okay? About 36,500 per lifetime. And when you start thinking like that, 36,500, that's a number we can easily sort of visualize, okay? Not all of us, but at some point we might have had to buy a car for around this sort of money. And so, it's not too hard to sort of visualize the number 36,500. But that's all the days you pretty much get if you live to 100. And so what I'm hoping to do is really bring to your attention that every day is literally precious. You got to really make every moment count, because when you don't get them back. And to top it all off, a third of the time, or about 8 hours a day, you will be in bed. And so if you take that away, 122 days per year you're sleeping, or 12,000, leaving you essentially about 24,000 days in a lifetime. So that's even smaller. So now we went from 36 to 24. We don't get a lot. Available to you though, essentially 16 hours per day or 243 days a year. And what I want to do is show you key strategies to maximize every single minute, every single day, every single year, and certainly get more done as time goes on. Cool. So the first and most easiest strategy is to start trying to eliminate distractors. And one of the key distractors in our life will no doubt be, for most of you, the TV. Okay? And if you've got Foxtel, and you've got all these other channels, who knows, there might be even more distractions. But if we start thinking about in terms of, is this enriching my life, or is this really wasting time, we need to start listing stuff in priority. One of my key favorite TV shows at some time was House, okay? Mainly because it's so cynical and really paints a cool picture about medicine. But second thing, it was stuff like the news. I became a news junkie. I'd find that I'd have to watch the news before I could go to bed. I had to watch the 10:30 news because otherwise I'd feel like I missed out on something. And when I started to think about, well, what is the news? Is the news a happy hour? No. Does it really make you go, whoo, yeah, I want to live another day? No, it actually is quite depressive. Now, if that's the last thing you fill your mind with before you go into bed, what sort of sleep do you think you might have? Exactly. It speaks for itself that your night might be a bit more stressful, your brain might have a little bit more trouble settling down, and certainly your mood when you go into bed could affect your dreams. And so it wasn't too hard to start to turn the TV off. Okay? And the cool stuff as well is with most digital recorders now, you can record TV. So at least if you've got a show that you really, really love and it really does give you a bit of happiness, doesn't matter. But by recording it, you can certainly skip ad breaks, cut it down, pause it, all those kind of stuff, and certainly watch it when it suits you. Because some of the best shows, I'll tell you, are on late at night when you should be in bed. Alrighty? The second thing is computer and internet. More and more so, the computer and the internet is taking more and more time. Facebook has an average user time of 4 hours per day. So the average person who has a Facebook account will spend 4 hours per day on this system. And that's not even including yet the other stuff that they're doing on the internet. It dramatically shot up basically when this system sort of came live. But it's easily become distracted. Our emails, have really come a long way in communication because, in the days where there was no mobile phone, if you couldn't get hold of someone, bad luck. And you didn't always feel like someone was tugging on your shirt every 5 seconds wanting your attention. Then the text messages came along, and because text messages, how quickly from sending a text would you expect a reply? You would almost expect that if I send a text message to you right now, you would expect an answer within the next 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Half an hour, who knows, you might be in a meeting, okay? But then I'd be kind of going, hey, I send you a text sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. The problem is that's also transferred into emails. And so a lot of you, if you're using emails at work and you're busy, you're getting an email and expected to reply within seconds, okay? Because we have this idea, oh, it's quick. The problem is if you've got 100 emails and each one of them takes 60 seconds or a minute, it's 100 minutes of your day or an hour and 40 minutes. It quickly starts to take up your time. Ooh, I knocked it. The second or the third thing that is a big distractor or also a key strategy on its own is eliminating your clutter and if you're unorganized, becoming more organized. Most of us, I'm not a big list person. I don't like lists, but I found since I've introduced them, my days have become much more productive because in my mind I could list 5 things that I had to do. But between jobs, because it wasn't written down, I'd go, okay, what shall I do next? And it was easily get sidetracked and focused because there was no organization. We're going to go through that a little bit tonight. The last one is basically your mindset, okay? A lot of us have this idea that we are really, really busy. And for the most part, you really are. But when you start to really look at your day, and some of you will do this, some of you won't, but an exercise I'm going to try and give you is when you get home, create on an A4 page, okay, a spreadsheet. And all it has to do on one side of the page, break your day down in 15-minute increments, okay? So on the left side of the page, it might say 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock, and so forth. All that on the left side. And on the right side, it basically is what were you doing at that time. It can be a little bit tedious, but I guarantee it, when you go through it and actually go through and do that for a day, you'll find that, oh my goodness, half the day I'm spent doing nothing. Or you're sort of going between this and that. And it becomes really clear, and it certainly did for me, that a lot of the time I was just flowing in between things. And it would be like, oh, I was doing that, oh, and then I went and got a drink, and that got me distracted, so I was doing this, and then I was, you know. The other thing that you can do is add another column, and this is, again, moving towards some of the later workshops in thinking patterns and goal setting, is think about, well, what are you thinking at that point in time? Are you actually talking to yourself positive, or are you saying some negative things? Because a lot of us talk negatively to ourselves. We are very judgmental on ourselves. And when we are, we actually limit our productivity, because if you're negative on yourself, it's not very motivated to get going. And so if we can start flipping your mindset into speaking more positive, like, oh, you did the crap job on that too, well, what could I have done better? Or give me suggestions on how I could have improved it, and start moving your mindset and your thinking into that paradigm, you'll actually find that you'll become more productive on its own. So, how do we create time? Well, one of the biggest things that we need to realize is that our awake and sleep is a rhythm, and it's a hormonal rhythm. And the more you vary your going to bed and awakening time, the more disruptive it is to your body, and more disruptive it is to your energy levels. So I want to encourage you, all of you essentially, to set a rising time that is the same. Okay? Your awakening time should be the same every morning. The research is actually out there that when people change it on the weekends, you know, let's say they get up at 6 o'clock every single weekday, but now get up at 9 o'clock on a Saturday and a Sunday, it makes getting up on Monday about 75% harder. And that's where a lot of Mondayitis comes from. We go, oh, because our body is essentially so used to awakening at 6 that it's thrown the whole rhythm out. The best time to wake up is somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. Now, in an ideal situation, okay? I know not all of us have jobs at the moment, underline at the moment, that fit into this category. Could you have? Sure you could. Do you have the courage to change where you're at? Maybe not. But it is available to you, okay? If you want it, you can look for it. But between 5 and 6 a.m. is the best time to get up, okay, for the human body. We should be in bed by 10 o'clock. According to our circadian rhythm, our hormonal rhythm, we should be in bed somewhere around 10 o'clock. Because most of our REM sleep, the rapid eye movement, where we do a lot of our dreaming and recovery sleep and deep sleep, is between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So anyone who works during those hours is cutting their life short rapidly. I'm not clear on the research at the moment, but I have certainly heard somewhere in the vicinity of 10 years. It cuts about 10 years of your life by working those hours. And so if I can encourage one thing is to actually just stick to a bedtime. Just set it in for 10 o'clock. Now you could be really busy and go, I can't do it, I'm too busy and all that kind of stuff. If you stick to it, I guarantee you can do it, because it forces you to be more organized beforehand too. And when you get into bed, there's a couple of things we've got to do. But we've essentially got to teach you how to get better sleep. Part of time management is to actually get you to feel more awake when you are awake. One of this new term that's out there in the workforce is called presenteeism. And what that actually is where your staff, if you run a business, are at work, but they're not actually there. Okay? They're physically there in the body, but they're over there. Okay? They're not actually present. And so you've got to pay them for this time they're at work, but they're not actually doing anything really that productive. And what we've got to try and do here is try and bring your awake time to actually be awake, because that's also going to make you more productive and get through your things faster. So a lot of it's about quality over quantity. There's arguments, I can survive on 4 hours, you need 8 hours. Personally, from what I've read, I think if we took a law of average, about 7 hours is perfect. Okay?